Let me speak with you, Mr. Secretary, first, and ask you about Condoleezza Rice's assertion there that when we don't have American leadership, when we speak softly, quote, nobody listens and the world doesn't like what it gets. Your thoughts on that?
Well, withdrawing from 2 wars, neither of which ended in a clear-cut victory, was always going to be tricky business to avoid giving the impression that we weren't withdrawing more broadly. And the more the president talks about focusing on nation building at home and on coming home, and the more that he and the Congress continue to cut the defense budget, unfortunately, it does send the signal that the U.S. is pulling back. So I think it is a concern.
Well, what do you make of the doubling of troops?
Well, I think that the numbers are a reflection of the challenge that we face and the challenge in retraining some of the Iraqi forces to make them effective. I think it is important to underscore that I think most Americans agree with the president. We don't want to refight the Iraq war. I think describing a goal of destroying ISIS may be ambitious. We've been trying to destroy Al-Qaeda for 13 years and have not managed that. But I think we significantly can degrade them, push them out of Iraq.
Let me bring in Howard. Now, how is it that the CEO of a coffee company writes a book like this and winds up making this one of his big life causes? Because you've done much more than just this book.
Well, about 3.5 years ago, I was invited to West Point. I had never been there before to speak about leadership. I had spent the entire day there, and after spending so much time with the young cadets, I really thought I had learned many lessons about leadership from them. Now, Secretary Gates is also on the Starbucks board, and his friendship and mentorship sensitized me to something that I was unaware of. 2.5 million extraordinary young men and women have served for almost 15 years now in an all-volunteer service. 1 million veterans are now entering civilian life. So there's a few things that I'm trying to accomplish. We must have a much deeper level of respect for veterans, but most specifically, with 1 million veterans who have extraordinary skills and experience to add value to our society and businesses, I am encouraging and really trying to convince and persuade CEOs and small business owners across the country to hire a veteran.
That's the key. It's one thing to say that you respect our veterans, to give up your airplane seat to the veteran, what have you, but it's a different thing entirely to give a returning veteran a job.
No, not at all, because this is not charity or pity. This is good business. What we need is for these owners to recognize the extraordinary level of leadership skills, integrity, ethics, and all the things that would be very valuable to a business whose primary goal is to make money. And so what we're trying to do is really link up the skill base of the veteran with the requirement of the company and ensure the fact that they get a good shot at a good job. The stigma on veterans of PTS and brain trauma is certainly something the media has elevated. Not all veterans have PTS or have brain trauma. And those that do, many of them are available to work and contribute positively to the company.
Absolutely. I want to ask you, because the new head of the VA, Robert McDonald, spoke out over the weekend about how the VA is going to change. I mean, obviously, this is the hospital that's meant to take care of these veterans, including those who have post-traumatic stress or post-traumatic stress disorder and so on. And obviously, the VA has been a mess, to put it charitably. Yeah. He came out and said, look, we have moved out the bad apples, the folks who we had to put on administrative leave. He was asked specifically about old Sharon Hellman at the Arizona VA, the Phoenix VA, where all these veterans died. This woman is still getting a government paycheck. We are still paying her salary while all these, the administrative process pays out. Let me start with you on this, Mr. Secretary. Do you believe that the VA has failed our veterans? And do you have confidence now that with people like Sharon still getting their paychecks, things really are turning around?
I believe that the new secretary is determined to fix things. One of the challenges he faces is due to federal laws and administrative procedures. It's very difficult in a place like VA to be able to fire people, even those with demonstrated incompetence.
I mean, willful negligence. It's not just incompetence. It's willful negligence, misrepresentations, affirmative ones that, arguably led to or started a course of conduct that led to deaths.
Well, I agree with all of that. I mean, I was fortunate at the Department of Defense in that I was able to fire political appointees and, when appropriate, even some senior military officers over Walter Reed's scandal and various others. But it seems to me that Secretary McDonald has even less flexibility to fire people than I had when I was Secretary of Defense. So the Congress needs to help him here in being able to clean this mess up.
Thank you for all you've done for our country and your service to our veterans, in particular to you, Mr. Defense Secretary. All the best to you.
Thank you.